All right, everybody. With that being said, what is going on, everybody? If you don't know, now you do know. You're officially tuned in to once again a very special edition of the HFWB podcast series. This is your host, Clifton Pope. And before I get into the guest I'm about to bring in, I appreciate everybody who is, of course, taking time out of their busy schedule to, of course, listen to the podcast wherever you may be, however you may be listening, whether you're watching this on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel for Health Fitness Wealth Business at Health Fitness Wealth Business 8726. Be sure to download, stream, and of course, subscribe to the HFWB podcast series on Apple and Spotify podcasts because this episode is being brought to you by goandfeelgreat.com, where we're helping one individual at a time feel great for the long haul, thanks to the company Unicity and the products that they have to offer with the Unicity Unimate and the Unicity Balance, which will help you overall feel great for the long haul and not only combat insulin resistance, but put it into insulin resistance. But with that being said, the guest who I'm about to bring on to the HFWB podcast series, for anyone who listens to the HFWB podcast series, you know it's about health as wealth and trying to create a revolution within that. And honestly, the best way to do that, we have to unlock the secrets within ourselves just to overall better our performance or quote unquote human performance. And the individual who I'm about to bring on is definitely going to break that down tremendously better than I can. I mean, he is a performance coach, number one. He's an expert in EMF. He's an author. He's the founder of athleticism.com and emfrocks.com. Be sure to check out both of those websites. He specializes in nerve work. He's been in the field of athletic performance for over 25 years, just basically breaking down the whole body, whole brain, and the whole performance, diving into the connection between both of those things. And at the same time, he basically breaks down the EMF challenge with his trademark grounding bags that he's going to get into all about to help enhance the overall sleeping performance and healing performance and so many more other things. I mean, he's been featured all over the place. If you don't know who this individual is by now, I like to welcome Mr. Justin Frandson to the HFWB podcast series. Justin, how are you doing today on this motivational Monday?
Oh, so good, Clifton. Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you, of course, for making time out of your busy schedule just to be a guest on the HFWB podcast series and provide information, knowledge, and resources, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, to where we can empower and enlighten the next individual. So, Justin, for the people who are listening to the HFWB podcast series and want to get to know a little bit more of how you started, where you came from, how would you best describe that to the people who are currently listening?
Yeah, well, thanks for the thorough intro. I'm a former athlete that just didn't get to the level that I felt I should be at, and that's what
Right.
really got me into it. I played tennis and thought I could walk on, play at FC, and I got hurt, and
Mhm.
so that's what kind of got me into it. One of many things that got me into the health space, and yeah, so that's where it started.
Okay. And overall, from that, from getting involved into the health space, you wanted to really like dive into how you can unlock the secrets to like human performance and everything, which led to you becoming a performance coach and wanting to understand that a little bit more. What drove you as far as the passion to want to like understand like how the human body performs and like really breaking down like the mind and body connection, how it all ties into the overall performance of just not only the athlete, a regular athlete, but just humans just in general.
It was just a passion of mine. I always knew I'd be in this lane, but I didn't quite know what aspect of it. And
Mm-hmm.
then I found it. So I found it pretty early on in my career. So super blessed on it. But just because I didn't get to the level I wanted to help people get there. And that was just a passion of mine. But it was also, I knew I had a lot left on the table for me as an athlete and wanted to keep pushing the boundaries of how good of an athlete I could be, even if I had aged out of, collegiate or professional sports. So to this day, I keep improving my athleticism and coordination and whole body, whole brain, and keep learning more about how to do that to help facilitate others.
Right, right. And you're doing that very well with your own athleticism sports performance program, basically taking it up a notch as far as speeding up the process, as far as just improving the speed, power, jumping, your eccentric change of direction to where you can be basically the most explosive you've ever been. And it kind of ties in hand as far as a little bit within I do within the holistic personal training world, as far as the importance of warming up properly with stretching, balancing exercises, fascia exercises, and then of course doing a nice little 30 to 45 minute program as far as workout program, as far as just incorporating the power of the breath within the movement, as far as incorporating a simple 3 count, as far as when you're going down with the weight or coming back up with the weight, for example. And at the same time, emphasizing the importance of recovery, again, focusing on, of course, just these breathing and these stretching exercises. That way you can help recover the muscles that you tore apart as well. And it's like, I'm looking at it here, and it's wonderful as far as the 25 plus years of working with many of the best athletes in the world in regards to your overall athleticism sports performance program that you have. Is there like a particular athlete that kind of comes to mind, or any client that you've had that comes to mind, to where your program has been so effective and so impactful to your life to where it kind of solidified basically your journey, your vision, and your overall purpose of you striving to be the best performance coach that you can be?
Not just one, Clifton. I mean, it's countless. I mean, every client I see has some incredible gains over the years, but I mean, I've been blessed to work with pretty much most major sports and the highest level in each sport,
Right.
professional athlete. So it's just fun to see a golfer jump up 90 spots on the PGA Tour, just as much as, to have multiple guys that are, top 10 in the world and multiple sports.
Right, right. I mean, your endorsements speak for itself. It's funny how you mentioned golf. It's You have a PGA Champions Tour golfer and John Cooks endorsing you, basically saying, for those who are listening to the HFWB podcast series, this is a quote from John Cooks himself. He said, "Justin and athleticism, thanks for helping me prolong my career and stay young. What a program." And it's funny how that quote stands out within itself to me, because it's like, I like to consider just trying to be the best version of myself that I can be, as far as just trying to forever remain young in the mind, body, and spirit. And I feel like when we're attached to that fountain of youth, as far as just within that mind body connection, I feel like the performance is always going to be there. We just have to search from within just to kind of bring it out and everything. So that kind of just speaks to volumes as far as to what everything that you're doing in regards to just basically unlocking the secrets to human performance, because at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do, as far as just whether we're performance coaches, whether we're exercise specialists, what any health and wellness professional, personal trainer, all of that. We're basically just trying to unlock the secrets to human performance. And at the same time, we're also trying to heal ourselves from within. And at the same time, one way that I found that you're trying to do something a little bit different, as I was doing my research on you've kind of gotten involved in the studies of EMF rocks. And for those who don't know what EMF rocks are, there's this product that Justin's attached to. He's the founder of the website emfrocks.com, as I alluded to earlier. And he has basically a product called the grounding bags. It's basically used to repel EMF, ground, and basically recharge you. And it helps you give a deeper, uninterrupted night's sleep and everything. What made you want to get into studying electromagnetic fields? What is it that we need to know about electromagnetic fields, and how can it help out with improving the overall performance of just not only, again, not only the athlete, but your regular individual?
Oh, yeah. Great questions, Clifton. I saw our athletes breaking down from the wearable technology. So that's what got me into it. We had one of these hotshot, strong fit professional athletes come in and go, Justin, I have pain in my wrist.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, where? And he pointed right to where the watch was. And I
Okay.
said, this was over a dozen years ago when those Fitbits were being recalled for too much
Right, right.
radiation. Yeah. And so I said, take the radiation off your wrist. And
Mm-hmm.
sure enough, man, he takes the radiation off his wrist and the pain goes away. And that was literally for me, I'm like, okay, I got to lean into this and understand the difference between our electromagnetic body and then all these non-native waveforms out there. So that's what got me into the studies of it. And to simplify it, the non-native waveforms are one-directional waveforms. So they're polarizing, but we're
Mm-hmm.
not made that way, Clifton. We're made on waves that are called scalar waves. They're unpolarized waves. They distribute equally in every direction. So
Okay.
us and our environment are made on waves that are more natural and unpolarized and distribute equally in every direction. Like if I were to drop a pebble into a pond, straight down into a pond, the resonance of the pond goes equally out in every direction, right?
Right, right.
Yeah. Why doesn't it go in a straight line to the right or left?
Yeah, that's a very great question. It
And
really
well,
is.
the answer is because the framework of physics, how we're one with our environment through
Mhm.
unpolarized waves that distribute equally in every direction. So they're called scalar waves. We're just made on those waves. To the contrary, when you introduce a one directional waveform, which all electricity is made from, it disrupts us. It disrupts our energy field. It disrupts the chemistry in our body. And that's what leads to lack of sleep and health.
It all kind of just ties together in a weird, weird way. And you touched on something that was very interesting, saying how much we are like one with the universe, because we truly are. Because at the end of the day, we are, all we are is just matter and a form of energy. And it goes back to one of the main 12 universal laws, the law of oneness. We are all connected to each other based off of the forces of energy that the universe gives us, and at the same time, the frequencies and vibrations we feed off of within the universe. How would you describe us being kind of like the same and one with the universe based on your perspective and based on your work with the electromagnetic forces and fields?
Yeah. Clifton, there's a gal named Eileen McCusick. She wrote a book called Electric Body, Electric Health. She categorizes the body as a body battery and says we get the negative ionic charge from the earth, where we
Right.
pull in the electrons to support our electron transport chain, what gives us energy. We get the unpolarized light from the sun, and we get minerals from the air, as Dr. Zach Bush will say. So we breathe in different microbiomes. You get it from the food, hopefully, nowadays. And then
Mm-hmm.
we get it from the water, and then we get the conductivity of it from the water. If we're missing any one of those five elements from nature recharging us, our bodies, become a gateway for challenges to arise. So if a car battery loses its water, what happens? The battery dies, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we have five more mechanisms, than a battery does, to keep us, our energies flowing and keep that electromagnetic resonance flowing. And that's kind of how we're one with nature.
Speaking of being one with nature, what do you feel like is the biggest environmental stressor that can basically disrupt us from continuing to be one with nature?
Yeah, there's a lot of them right now, Clifton. But the first one I would say is the number one for me is electromagnetic radiation, because
Mm,
we've never been radiated like this ever in the history of life. And there's a book called The Invisible Rainbow by Arthur
Okay.
Furstenberg. I recommend everyone read it. Categorizes the history of electricity in life, directly correlates every major time where a lot of people got sick to shifts in our electromagnetic blanket of an atmosphere. So before we introduced electricity in the homes in 1889, when people got sick, were correlated with comets, solar flares, atmospheric pressure shifts. And after we introduced electricity in the homes, they called the flu because it was here to stay. It became seasonal. And then when a lot of people were adapting to shifts, they were from man-made shifts. And 1918, we rolled out radio waves. That was the era of the Spanish flu. World War II was radar. Hong Kong flu was satellites we rolled out. And then everyone knows the last several years, we rolled out 5G, and it correlates exactly with the coronavirus.
Right. It's crazy how it keeps on just growing and transforming and just kind of like breaking down and coming back into its own stronger form and everything. It's like it's if I feel like those things has caused so much of a disruption based off of what you're telling me, based off of just athletic performance and the environment. It's like the gap is becoming more and more separated as far as it, according to what you just said right now, the 5G effect. And then of course us coming out of the pandemic and everything. I feel like all these things are just being such disruptors more than anything. What would you say to someone as far as just trying to find a better sense of connection as far as to where they can have like the best athletic performance, but at the same time benefiting and impacting the environment in a positive way?
Yes, well, to optimize someone's performance, you got to keep them grounded by nature. You got to get them connected to the Earth's resonance. You got to get them connected to God. You got to get them out of the meta universe. You got to get them out of the tracking and daily testing. You can't have watches telling them when to sleep, when to eat, how many steps they took, how good they're supposed to feel. Like you got to know how good you feel. You can't have the meta universe telling you this stuff. So that's what we got to really, the big message is for these athletes is to get grounded by nature, because it's the number one way to heal, recover, and optimize your performance. We get in the brainwave states for optimal performance when we're one with nature, because those are the brainwave states, the similar ones that we're in. And I'll talk about that in a second, but there's so many correlations between us and nature's resonance. And when we disconnect from it, we're not going to be at our prime performance.
Yeah, it just comes back to just, it just comes back to just their root chakra and the whole chakra system just being out of alignment, because the one way to keep the root chakra back in alignment is grounding yourself within nature, which is why it's always recommended to go walk outside in your front yard barefooted on your grass for about 5-10 minutes or so. That way you can get that electromagnetic fields just flowing through from your body, and then it just floats up and it just kind of like charges yourself up to where you automatically feel good, your blood's circulating a lot better, and at the same time it's like you're relieving yourself of so many things just by just grounding yourself. Like, you can literally go outside, for anybody who's listening to the HFWB podcast series, this particular episode, you can literally go outside, walk around in your front yard just barefooted for like 5-10 minutes. And I guarantee you that's going to make a difference alone with just grounding yourself in nature and just getting back to just not only being in tune with the environment and benefiting off of the environment, but at the same time increasing in your overall natural performance, your athletic performance for that matter. And I feel like grounding yourself is major as far as just optimizing the best version of yourself that you can be. And that's something that I tell my personal training clients all the time myself, Justin. You have to practice just, grounding yourself, reminding yourself while you're exercising that you're safe, that you're grounded, that you belong to the world for a particular purpose, That way we can, of course, get that root chakra and back in alignment. That way all the other chakras can flow naturally from there. But overall, Justin, we're actually at the point of the podcast where I'm going to actually ask you a list of questions that I ask everybody who comes onto my podcast, just so they can know you a little bit more without a doubt. My first question, I should say, Justin, is what is the first thing you do or think of every single day that you wake up?
Oh, I just go through my morning routine. That's the first thing I do, is to be grateful, go through my gratitude list. I'll say some affirmations. I'll go get my grounding in. I'll do some fascia maneuvers, just some breath work and grounding, and just counter rotate my body with breath to open up the fascial adhesions, and just rehydrate myself with Irish sea moss, diatomaceous earth, food grade diatomaceous earth, and Irish sea moss. I get that in there for hydration and mineralization for the fascia.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much it in the morning. I'll do that. Sometimes I'll get a workout, and I jump in the ocean every day too. So cold water as well, and no wetsuit. And so I'm the living, breathing ambassador of getting grounded by nature. My whole morning routine revolves around getting outside barefoot or jumping into a body of water.
No, and I love how you stressed on the importance of that, Justin, because that's what I like to stress on the HFWB podcast series, the importance of having a morning routine, like dedicating the first hour or two of your day towards just self-care, like just getting yourself in tune with how Al-Harad from the Miracle Morning would call the Savior's Method, just having that moment of silence, whether it's praying or meditating, going over your affirmations, and at the same time visualizing those affirmations within the visualization process, finding some sort of way to move your body, whether it's exercise, lifting weights, going for a run, going for a swim, going for a walk, finding time to, read your favorite book for a little bit, and at the same time get a little bit of journaling in, write down 5 things that you're grateful for. Just getting into a routine of doing that on a consistent basis alone will just make a difference on your life, and that's something I cannot stress enough. So I'm glad that you highlighted the importance of that without a doubt, Justin. My next question kind of piggybacks off of this a little bit. When it comes to health and wealth, we both know, Justin, that you can't have one without the other. It's 2 sides of the coin. In your personal definition, what does health and wealth mean for yourself, Justin?
It means living in the moment, literally being connected above and grounded below. And the second part of that would be that you are in flow with nature's rhythms. And to have health would mean to have the abundance that the universe provides to you, where you have the full power, your tank's at full power of energy and vitality. And so your life force is at full power. That's where it's got to start with that.
I love that. And I couldn't agree any more of that. When you think of the word community, right, Justin, what pops to your mind as far as community?
Community is probably one of the most important elements of our society that we have. Mm-hmm. And I feel the more connected with our community, the better our health will be, the better the energy will flow for everybody. So community is essential for life. It's essential for expansion and growth. I think we learn through experiences and this interplay with friends and family, extended family and such. It's so important for our growth and our health. So having a community, it's one of the things that I've really leaned in on the last several years more than ever. And whether it's a Weston A. Price Foundation or a Human Garage community or my own neighborhood community, there's communities that one of my big things, Clifton, my goal is to bridge all these different communities that I'm in together to raise the level of consciousness so that no one lives in fear. And we have body sovereignty. I don't want governments controlling what goes in our bodies or how we think and
Yes.
feel. I
Yes.
want, I want this freedom. I want us to just, when you're in God's hands, man, you're good. Like He's
Yeah.
got you, so you don't have to fear anything. That's just number one. But when you have this community of awareness, raises the consciousness, man, everyone's going to be so much happier and healthier.
It just comes down to, just for me personally, Justin, and I agree with everything you said. Just to add two more cents to it, it comes down to just realizing that we're all equal and we're all diverse, which is what makes community just a special thing within itself. Because I feel like any community all across the world would be literally boring if everyone and everything was the same thing. We need diversity because that's what it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of something different here and there within the cultures and beliefs and values, because that's what opens the door for conversation, which opens the door for communication, which at the same time opens the door for actually relationships to be formed, bridges to be built, and at the same time respect between two different worlds coming together to form even one diverse, equal world, even if it's just one person at a time doing it with another person, and then just the power of twos, and the next thing you know, the powers of threes, and it multiplies on and so forth. I love that tremendously well, the importance of just unity in the community. For anyone who listens to the HFWB podcast series knows I stress that enough. We need to do what we can by just uniting within our own communities, prospective communities, wherever we may be at, or all across the world, to where it makes a difference, to where we can stand united versus falling divided, so to speak. But we're actually going to transition into a little bit of a segment I like to call Either Or, where I'll ask you which one you would choose out of either options, of course, Justin. The first one would be loyalty or respect.
So loyalty or respect?
Right.
Which one do I choose to have or to experience?
Which one would you prefer, rather, Justin? Loyalty or respect?
Oh, I like loyalty better. Like if someone doesn't respect me, that's fine. That's their challenge. But I like having people that are loyal.
Understood. Would you rather live in space or in the ocean?
Live in space, in like outer space?
Outer space, yes.
Oh, no way. I'm a waterman.
Yes, I kind of had a feeling that's what you were going to say based on your overall morning routine of you always being in the water every single day. So I could see you living in the ocean just off of your routine alone, Justin.
Pretty much do already, yeah.
Would you rather be famous and poor or anonymous and rich?
Oh, I'd rather be anonymous and wealthy. I don't need the fame.
Got you. Would you rather have unlimited free meals at your favorite restaurant or unlimited first class tickets?
Unlimited first class tickets. I like to travel and see the world and experience stuff.
Got you. Would you rather dance to every song or sing to every song?
Well, I'm a better dancer than singer. So
Got you.
So
It's like that sometimes. It really is. Some
I know.
people.
I got the coordination genes, not the singing genes.
Got you. Now picture this scenario, Justin. You're on a deserted island. You're trapped on this island, but you had the opportunity to listen to 5 of your favorite music artists. It doesn't matter what genre it is. It could be their whole catalog of music. Who are those 5 music artists?
Oh man, that's tough to say. But I grew up in the hip hop genre, so I like Snoop Dogg. I mean, I think he has some of the best ones out there. Oh man, the top 5. You're getting me on that one. I got one out. So my brother was into heavy metal. So I like classic rock as well. So I think Led Zeppelin would be another good one.
Okay.
I like Christina Aguilera's pipes. She's got a voice. I like who do I like?
You got two more choices. You got Snoop, you got Led Zeppelin, you got Christina Aguilera, you got two more choices.
What's his name? I think I'll say Levine. That was on the what was it? The Voice.
Oh, Adam Levine. Yeah, that's not. Yeah, that ain't bad.
He's got some game. Who's my fifth one? Who would I listen to now the most? Oh man, let's see here. If I go into my music, I'm going to do it real quick because I got to think about this.
No, you're good. You're good. By all means.
You're making me work here. Hang on a sec.
You're not the only one who's had to think about this for a second, Justin. Don't feel too bad. It's a tough choice. It's a tough because we listen to so much music and we all have different artists from different genres we like, myself included. It'd be tough for me to pick.
I like Beyonce too. She popped up first on one of my playlists. I like Kid Rock. I'm really into like music that just has rhythm and soul and
all
move me. And it's like it doesn't matter what genre, but those would be my I gave you 6, I think, top artists out there that I would tune into pretty much any time and just be stoked on.
That's not a bad list either. That's well diverse. You got a little bit of everything in there just to fill all the gaps, which is nothing wrong with that at all, Justin. Nothing wrong with that. What is your favorite go-to meal?
Oh, my favorite go-to meal?
Yes.
For dinner?
Any meal. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, doesn't matter.
Breakfast, bacon and eggs, for sure. That's easy. Dinner, salmon, probably one of my favorites. But I like steak and lamb and burgers, barbecuing. So, and then when I'm in Texas, the ribs are the best. So I like getting
you gotta love barbecue in Texas, that's for sure. Although
you don't need barbecue sauce when you're there. They're so good.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Now, you did touch on something earlier, Justin, that you do love to travel and you love to experience different sceneries every now and then, just to kind of refresh the vibes a little bit. Where's your favorite place, rather, that you've traveled to thus far, and where's a place you haven't traveled to that you would like to travel to?
I love to check out the Philippines. I've never been out there. Okay. I feel, let's see, one of my favorite places to go to, probably surfing destination. I like Fiji. Fiji, the people were so nice. Okay. And then the waves were amazing. At Tavarua is where I surf. Okay. So I surf waves when they get pretty good size. So I like that, Cloud Break, that area.
Got you. Whenever you're not doing everything that you're currently doing, because I'm sure the schedule is bananas, what are some of your favorite hobbies that you like to do that many people may not know you like to do, Justin?
Favorite hobbies. I like to free dive.
Staying in tune with the water. Nothing wrong with that. That's the theme right here. For those who haven't figured it out by now, who are listening to this episode of the HFWB podcast series, there's nothing wrong with being in tune with the water, because ironically enough, it's one of the major elements of the universe, but at the same time, it helps out with building their communication. It's a good bridge for communication. So you're onto something, Justin. You're letting people know that, hey, communication's important with all aspects. So, hey, why not go take a swim or go free dive a little bit? That way you could get in tune with yourself on how to communicate, not only with yourself, but with the other people as well. See,
Yeah.
that's an interesting trick that you're doing there. And you're definitely onto something in regards to that. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, a couple things on that, man. I mean, what was it? I think one of the Philippines, they're known to have the best functioning spleens because they're big into free diving over there. So
Okay.
the other part is when you go underwater, you can hear sounds that you don't really hear on air. So when there's someone riding an electric foil board, which is like electric surfboard or just anything electric in the water, it sounds like noise pollution underwater.
Right.
It sounds like a stereo station on static turned all the way up. But
Okay.
when the dolphins or whales are underwater, you can hear their sounds so clearly. So getting back to the EMF stuff, man, the sounds that we hear that we don't hear, our body hears. So all this electromagnetic radiation around us is noise pollution. It's messing with our nervous system. It's messing with our autonomic and our central nervous system. So it's a big disruptor for our body, and we don't recognize it until you kind of jump underwater and you can hear it. Or if you're on land, you get a meter and you just get an electric meter, a wireless meter, acoustimeter, and the sounds that those meter makes, that's the noise that it's reading that most humans can't hear.
So that's really good to know, and it just goes to show you learn something new every single day, because that's mind blowing within itself. And for everyone who's listening to this episode, needs to rewind that part again, because that's some great information there, Justin, without a doubt. My last question, as we wrap everything up here. Now, if you have an opportunity to go back in time, right, say 10 years, what would you tell yourself, Justin? And at the same time, based on your current journey, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
Oh, 10 years ago, I would say that you can really accelerate everything you're doing at that time. You don't have to wait 10 years. You can create it now. So I would mess with time a little differently. Our bodies don't know the difference between memory, reality, and imagination. What that means is our bodies don't know the difference between past, present, and future.
That's true.
So when you can create what you want to create ahead of time, you can create the next 10 years.
I love that. That's probably might be the best answer I think I've ever heard to that particular question. And that's because I've asked that to a lot of people. That might be one of the top 5 answers, if not the best answer I've heard thus far. But you summed it up perfectly well, Justin. But for everyone who wants to find out more about yourself, where can they get in contact with you? Kind of give them a reminder about the websites and everything. Now's your time to shine. Do you have any future projects coming? Let the people know, Justin.
Yeah, thanks, Clifton. So athleticism.com, spelled athletic, ism.com.
Right.
For those that have trouble spelling. And then that's where you can find all our curated health products. emfrocks.com is where you find the grounding bags that you put on your bed to help you sleep up to 60% deeper. We have minis for your pocket, purse, or kid's backpack. We have Faraday bags there. And we have toothpaste on athleticism.com, our Y Clay toothpaste. So it's just from our sister mine, just crystals and essential oils. That's it. Only 2 ingredients. Great for your teeth and gums. We have MCT oil on there as well, called lean oil. It buffers the glucose spiking, because the diabetics, their glucose will spike when they jump in an airplane and everyone turns on their Wi-Fi. So it's not just food that's causing diabetes, it's the EMFs, it's the radiation around us. So you can find all those products on athleticism.com or emfrocks.com. On Instagram at athleticism neurostacking. That's where I treat concussions and do all the nerve work and coordination work. And then at EMF Rocks is for our grounding bags. And then you find me on great podcasts like yours, Clifton.
Yes, without a doubt. And we'll include all this information without a doubt in the show notes. Justin, I thank you for all the work that you're doing just to remind people to stay grounded within nature with the EMF Rocks. And at the same time, just helping to unlock the secrets to overall better human performance with the work that you're doing with athleticism.com. So please, everyone go check out athleticism.com. Go check out emfrocks.com. Great information. You won't be disappointed. And it's all about just creating healthier habits to where we can add more years to our life versus take away years from our life. With that being said, Justin, I just thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to simply bless us with an appearance on the HFWB podcast series. I loved it tremendously.
Thank you, Clifton. Likewise.
Without a doubt. And for those who are listening, this is yours truly, your host, Clifton Pope of the HFWB podcast series, encouraging everybody to stay healthy, wealthy, and blessed. Until next time, peace, love, and positive vibrations.